She knows how much I like to speak, and I can get on a tangent, and some of my students can validate that. But she quietly and quickly reminded me about the 3 B's. She said, be brief, be brilliant, or be gone. So I'll try to remember that today. But I do want to share a few things with you. I won't go into too much detail, but I will kind of set the stage for you and let you know that way back when, I grew up in a very poor part of the country in Louisiana, born there, and we didn't have much, right? So I started off not having too many nice things. Definitely didn't have iPads, didn't have iPhones and stuff like that. So everything I got was pretty much a hand-me-down. The men in my family were all alcoholics. So just to kind of set the stage, I think I was really headed in that direction very early on, the atmosphere that I was in. Unfortunately, my family, my mother and my father were divorced early, and my mother moved us to Texas. And that's where the story kind of picks up. You know, I was given the opportunity to find something else. And what I found here was, and I didn't really take off, and I didn't really realize what I was missing. And it wasn't so much as a failure, but I call it a missed opportunity. When I was a teenager, I got into a good high school. We were still working pretty diligently at getting a solid family life, but I was still kind of angry inside, and I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with myself. So I really didn't know early on that I was going to become a United States Marine and make that a career. I had really no aspiration of grand ideas of going on and being a Marine and either being an astronaut or anything. I just kind of wandered through life, and so I was still looking for that place. Even in high school, late in high school, I was trying to figure out what was I going to do. You know, I understood the value of college, but there was not that many people in my family that had college degrees. In fact, there were only one other one. So I'm basically the second person in my family to get a college degree, and I guess you could say kind of do something with my life. But going back to high school, there were people there, just like many of our educators here, that did exactly what our teachers and some of you students are doing for your friends and your fellow students. You were encouraging them, and you were expecting them to understand the value of relationships, understand the value of commitment, understand what it means to act honorably, and understand what courage truly means. So I kind of heard those words, and I knew them, but I don't really think I truly appreciated the definition of those until I joined the Marine Corps. And when I went to Marine boot camp, they very quickly introduced me to a lot of things, but one of those was there was no I in team. Okay, so a lot of the things that I reflected upon when I was in high school was I was pretty selfish. And I was all about me. What is in it for me, and why can't I have a new iPad? Why do I not get to have all these nice things that maybe some other people had? Well, I learned that it wasn't really as important as what's in it for me as it was about teamwork and family and having a commitment to something bigger than just one individual. And that was one of the things that the drill instructors quickly worked on us. And they made us understand that and appreciate that you weren't one single entity, and you could not survive very long being an individual. And then they introduced us to our core values of honor, courage, and commitment. And we live by those. It's not just a saying. It's not just a mantra. It's not something you see on a billboard. It's something that is truly embraced by every Marine. Even if they've only been in 4 years, if they've been in 24 years, it doesn't matter. If they truly embrace those values, they will make the transition a lot easier, and they will become successful. And I think that's what happened for me. And I'll fast forward a little bit. I wasn't the best Marine right out the gate, but I was working very hard. I did have a staff sergeant by the name of Staff Sergeant Torres grab me one day, and I had been in the Marine Corps probably about a year. And he said, hey, you know what? You've got a lot of potential, but I don't think you're exploring that potential. And I see that around here sometimes, and maybe some of you teachers, and probably all see it daily, that some of our students may not be fully exploring their potential. So I was one of those people. And he told me, he said, you know, if you really want to explore your potential, you will reflect back upon the things that you profess, that you hold true. And those are honor, courage, and commitment. And better yet, why don't you take another look at your leadership principles? Because we have those things And we have leadership traits that we teach our Marines. And those are really small things that are, they're not earth-shattering experiences for our young Marines, but those are things that we learn very, very early on. And I tried to keep those very close to my heart every single day when I was in the Marine Corps. And it meant quite a bit. And I reflect back 24 years now later, and I say, those leadership traits, the leadership principles, and the core values that I was able to embrace made me the person that I am today. And I'll share one of the leadership principles that we talk about with our students every single day in our leadership traits. But we try to hone in on a few. The first and the most important leadership principle we talk about is know yourself and seek self-improvement. Because if I'm constantly reflecting upon my actions or my missed opportunities, then I have the ability to recognize that I can do more, and I can work on that, and I can constantly improve and strive to be a better person. So daily, I would look in the mirror. Quite frankly, this may sound funny, but every single day, from that day forward, when Staff Sergeant Torres said, "You can do this if you choose to, and if you want to commit yourself and work hard, you will be successful, and you can make a difference." And I would shave my face, and I would recite the leadership traits, all 14 of them. And I would reflect upon the leadership principles. And I would ask myself, do I have those characteristics, those traits? Do I have those leadership? Am I making my daily activities in line with those rules or those guidelines we call principles?